Hello again. If I were to ask you how much this painting might be worth, I wonder what sum you would come up with. This is Christ, St. John of the Cross by Salvador Dali. And you need to travel to Glasgow to see the painting. It's kept in the Glasgow Art Gallery and was purchased for the city in 1951, and not long after Dali had finished painting it. Now, this small print hardly does justice to what is a popular and widely appreciated work. The painting, however, is not without its critics, and controversy surfaced in 1961 when an unwell person threw a brick at the canvas and pulled at the painting, and it took several months to repair. And then again, in the 1980s, someone fired an air gun at the painting, at its perspex protective covering. So the painting, like much of Dali's work, stimulates reaction and comment. And so what do you think it's worth? A conservative estimate is £80 million, and rumour has it that it is in fact insured for £300 million. So, in other words, the painting is virtually priceless. Why is it in Glasgow, you may ask? Well, why not Glasgow? Tom Honeyman began studying medicine in the city and also had an interest in art. And long story short, he gave up medicine and he became curator of the City Art Gallery. He met Salvador Dali, and in 1951 he purchased Christ, St. John of the Cross, for the sum of £8,200. Dali, in fact, had asked for £12,000. Now, the purchase didn't go down too well in some quarters, given that this was post-war Britain, blighted by food rationing and city slums. Shouldn't the money have been given to the poor? Some understandably asked. Tom Honeyman was a man with a vision, and within 8 months of the picture being installed, it had paid for itself. And interestingly, both Catholics and Protestants came to see the painting, and bringing together members of a city divided along denominational lines. Remember, Glasgow, the home of Rangers and Celtic. Not only that, people came from all over to make their pilgrimage to view this enigmatic painting. And importantly, to spend their money in Glasgow. In fact, the painting contributed significantly to the revival of Glasgow as an artistic and cultural hub. The surrealist painter Salvador Dali was a Catholic by birth who later adopted atheism, only to return again to his Catholic roots. He based the picture on a drawing he'd seen, drawn by the 16th century mystic St. John of the Cross, of the crucifix often presented to penitents in their last days. The painting itself, the first thing you might notice is the double perspective, where we have a view from below, and on the original you can see the disciples repairing their nets on the seashore, but this print doesn't allow us to see that. So we have a view from below where the disciples are, and a view from above, which is God's view, looking down on the cross and on the seashore from the heavens. Christ is returning, perhaps, to grant salvation to his disciples. I get the sense of God calmly exercising care and concern for those whom Jesus left and loved, left behind. Notice too that Jesus is not nailed to the cross. He's on the cross, but he's not held captive by it. Not only is he there of his own free will, but he had taken captivity captive, is how St. Paul describes it. And so the picture proclaims victory and not defeat. The composition is contained within a triangle, with the triangle's base at the top of the picture, along the top of the cross, and tapering down to the apex below. The triangle is a symbol of the Trinity and may have been an intentional feature of the work, although we don't know for certain. Many who have studied the picture claim it represents Jesus as described in John's Gospel, where the crucifixion is not as graphic and tortuous as it is in the other Gospels. There's no crown of thorns, for example. The cross here was the means for Jesus to return and glorify God the Father. As Jesus says in John's Gospel before his arrest, "Father, the hour has come, glorify your Son, so that the Son may glorify you." The backdrop to the painting is the place in Spain where Dali lived with his wife Gala, to whom he was devoted. And so I wonder what we might make of this work of art. It was apparently inspired by a dream, and Dali hired someone to attach themselves to a cross in his studio so he could paint them. People of all faiths and none have viewed and been moved by this picture. And it's a painting perhaps that raises more questions than answers. Is this a work of genius? Is it a painting with unique and compelling quality? Is God at work in this painting? After all, we often find God in places we least expect. Is Dali not only a great surrealist painter, but also a subtle missionary as well? It might be worth having a more detailed look online or visiting Glasgow and seeing the painting for yourself in the gallery. The picture for me exudes calm and hope and reassures me that in the end, when all things are gathered up, everything is going to be all right. The words of Mother Julian are appropriate here, I think, and for me sum up Dali's amazing work. All shall be well, and all shall be well, and all manner of things shall be well.